Alright, so now we're at episode 4 of Sonic Heroes, blasting our way into Bingo Highway. Bingo Highway has the reputation of being one of the best musical levels in Sonic Heroes, but it also continues the pinball theme from the first level in this section, Casino Park, and also adds a few wonky physics things to the table. And we'll see those when we get in a little bit deeper into the level here. Right now we just have some opening act business. And there went our early collected rings, so I hope we didn't miss those. Now in Sonic Heroes, one of the changes they did with ring management was they allowed you to keep they allowed you to keep some of your rings when you got hit. You could pick up back to about 20 of them, which if you had a small number of rings wasn't that bad, because you could recover all your rings. Only slightly more annoying if you had a larger number of rings, but ran into that. Had a little trouble with that fan there that sometimes happens. So we got Omega doing the triangle dive. And again, lots of armored enemies in this section. So even though I've already knocked out 2 of them, I'm going to go ahead and use the Team Blast to wipe out the rest of them. And we'll give Shadow a little bit of screen time. Since for the most part, in these pinball stages, I like to stay as Omega. He has the biggest hitbox, so I feel like if something is to happen with pinball bumpers, it's more likely to happen with Omega than it is with the other 2. Also, Shadow and Rouge move faster on the pinball tables and the bingo tables, and that's not exactly what you want to have happen as we play around with this little guy right here. Alright, so now we have possibility of a Lightspeed dash moment, and since I blow the jump completely, we have to watch out for this lost hole that will send us to the end of the level. Will kill us. Let's be honest. It's going to kill us. And then we can come back, get back up and, deal with these guys. Again, you can see the disadvantage of not having Rouge powered up. Whereas we have 3 levels on Shadow, and he's probably the character we use the least ordinarily. And so now we're on to our first bingo table. Now, there's a couple of different threats on these bingo tables. This first one is sort of to introduce you to the concept, so it's not so bad. And the villains who are just kind of sitting there, you can just roll into them and they will die. Now, the point of this table is to try to collect as many numbers as possible, and that will give you matches on a bingo card, and then you get point or rings for getting 5 in a row, 5 diagonally, or filling out the entire card like you would in a bingo game. And that's the gimmick. And this is the one major pinball section in this level. And usually it's not really that bad compared to Casino Park, but you do have to hit it a certain way, and for some reason with Omega here, I was not able to do that. You'll notice that Shadow and Rouge are both unavailable at this time, which means that they must have fallen off the grid somewhere. So it's just me and Omega until I figure this out. And there's not much to figure out. You just need to use the bumpers to get to the higher bumpers to finally get off the board. Okay, you get a little bit of help from from a little boost pad on the side there. But how long you spend in this area will probably determine how fast your run is. And since I'm spending more time than you would want to spend here, I think you can get the idea that this lengthened our run in this section significantly. Now we're getting closer to the top, and we're finally out. We get our friends back, and then we can go and kill these enemies on the bottom before we go and use these dice to get up to the next level. So now this sequence is kind of cool because there's several different ways you could do this. If you wanted to, you could triangle jump across with your speed character. You can see there's more pinball tables below us. There's also a second platform area. And then this will send us down into a little bonus area where there are a couple shooters. There are enemies around, but there's also a couple of extra lives over here. And we're going to pick up one of those. You can see we're carrying 221 rings right now, which is pretty good for me. And, you know, just a spoiler alert, I'm not going to keep all of them. In fact, I'm not going to keep all of them right there. So we're going to grab some rings, level up Rouge one more time. And then we're going to run across another fan. Now this protected minion here gave a little bit of trouble and also hit us. But he's low enough for Omega to be able to shoot him down. So, you know, goodbye rings again. You can see more characters waiting for us down there. But we get the invincibility out of that balloon, so we can avoid them. Now those little flying enemies that we just destroyed a second ago, what they will do is they will entrap your teammates. And if they entrap everybody, then you'll end up dying. But as long as your teammates are stuck in there, you can't use them, so you have to free them by destroying the things. So now we're on the second bingo table. And you can start to see where physics is getting a little bit wonky, because there we tried to jump over the edge. And it's very easy to do that. In fact, this run is not... The run I made here with Omega basically just flying around everywhere. This run is not a singular run. It is up through a certain point. I mean, you'll notice that the clock has been consistent the whole way through to get us here. But on the last bingo table, I ran into some trouble, and as a result, and see, here's an example of character switching. Rouge was still on the board, so when I switched to her, I had to go back into that section. So I had a couple of issues with the last bingo board, and so you'll notice a jump cut up here at the top of this platform that's coming up once we get through all these enemies. And you'll also notice from my rank at the end of the level that something must have happened. So anyways, and then there's our jump cut right there. You'll see that all of our level ups went away. Since I was so far along, I didn't want to mess around with the bingo nonsense some more. I could have gone back and recorded the entire level over again, but instead I just pieced it together from this section. Alright, so we need to break all of these window panes to kill all of these creatures to free up that bounce pad or spring up ahead of us. And then we just need to get rid of dude who's in our way here. Unfortunately, can't target him down there, and he's invincible while he rises back up. But now we're going into the final bingo section. And this is where things sort of went off the rails. And I had to go through this a couple of times. Alright, first off, you can see that the path is relatively narrow, particularly for the amount of bouncing that we can pull off with our character. And so the middle is death. Going over the edge is death. Okay, there's also holes sometimes in the track. That can also be death. Making that transition from one slide to the other can be death. There's just a lot of situations in this little area that can be death. And then we hit this board, and it sends us down into another bingo section. So there's a lot to this final table, so we're going to go across this table. And there's one way out of here. And so we're going to go flying out of here. We'll grab the 9. We'll jump through the ceiling. And then we'll end up going into an airborne section, which will take us through one more bingo game where we have to hit everything as we come down. Even though I thought I was on some of the numbers, I didn't really get credit for it, but luckily we landed right on the finish ring, because otherwise we'd have to work our way back up through another pinball machine. You can see based on the low scores that indeed we had to do a restart. And the mighty E rank. Sadness. But in the way that Sonic Heroes is organized, it's time for a boss battle. And since it's the third boss battle,
what was I doing? Asleep on that base.
As
What about my memory?
Eggman and Shadow talk about Shadow not remembering anything, is a Mook Rush. This will happen here. It will also happen at the end of Mystic Mansion. But this is Robot Carnival. And we have to start off with all these characters and not having any level ups. There is a balloon hovering above the stage, I believe, that has a Team Blast item in it, which we may get to later. But since we didn't have any level ups, having Rouge just stun everybody wasn't exactly the best plan of action. Then there's lots of armored foes, but Omega had gotten 2 power-ups because Shadow had killed everybody in that first run, so they gave us a couple of red circles. That's one of the interesting things about the level-up mechanic, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but if you kill a lot of characters with a particular character on your team, you get a different colored level up token for one of the characters that you did not use. So it's if you need a Rouge level up token, you need to be killing things with either Omega or Shadow. Killing them with Rouge isn't going to get you those tokens any faster. Also in Team Blast moves, where you often kill enough enemies to generate tokens, make sure you're leading with a character who you don't want the level up token to go to. So now we've got Omega on his 3rd level up and Shadow on his 3rd level up. I'm going to make an effort to go after that thing. It didn't really work. And now we have all these armored craft, which means that Rouge's 2nd level attack can't kill them in one shot. And when they're hovering at their normal height, they're a little too much for Omega. Now on the lower height, where they had to go to when Rouge hit them, we had some luck. So there you can see it knocked off our shield. We managed to kill all those guys. And then, of course, this was the scary part, because here I had Rouge and Omega trapped, and I was stuck as Shadow, you know, the speed character being my weakest character of the group. And then we get a turtle rush. Easiest way to get through the turtle rush again is, you know, with the Team Blast. So then we wait for time to come back, and once again we got some bomb droppers. We didn't exactly position ourselves quite out of the way on one of these waves of bomb droppers. It must not have been this wave. Maybe the next one, because I wasn't expecting there to be a next wave. Yeah, I think it's this one with the turtles and the armored bazooka guys. And yeah, I sent Omega right into the middle of things, because that's where you want Omega. And then I had no rings, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't want to do this all over again. So, you know, trying to keep the
You underestimated us, haven't you?
trying to keep them in missile range, but also not in bomb range. And here we had an unfortunate result, and that our Team Blast didn't kill all the golden guys that dropped in, but the pausing of the time allowed Omega to deliver the final blow to a number of those guys, and then Eggman flies off. So we'll see you next time as we enter what historically has been the most difficult part of the game for me, would be Rail Canyon. Not recent history, but just historically in general. And I'll see you then.
Eggman energy detected. Ground base up ahead.
I wonder what the doctor really meant.
We must capture him first. Let's go.